Today I want to talk about Shiva as the Lord of all healers. So this is an image of me at Vaidyanatha temple. This is in Jharkhand, and it is one of the 12 Jyotirlinga temples in India. And it also marked the completion of my 12th Jyotirlinga darshan. So Sri Vaidyanatha Ashtakam is a very beautiful Stotram of 8 verses composed by Sri Adi Shankaracharya, devoted to Lord Shiva. The word Vaidya is a term for a healer, a physician, a doctor. And who else but Shiva can be the Lord of all healers? He is the cosmic healer, he is Bhagwan Shiva. So in the first Anuvaka of Sri Rudram, Namakam, this mantra appears. Adhyavochadadi bhakta prathamo daivyo vishake. So may Rudra speak in my favor because he always speaks in favor of his devotees. He who is the foremost amongst all devas and who is the best of all Vishak, that is healers. So today we'll dwell on the meaning of Vaidyanatha Ashtakam, which has been written by Adi Shankaracharya. So the refrain in all the 8 verses is Sri Vaidyanatha Namashivaya. So unto the Lord of all Vaidyas, healers, physicians, Namaha unto Shiva, who is all auspiciousness, who makes it possible for healers, physicians to heal others, and who is present in all the processes of equilibrium. So we all know there is a cut and then there is a healing process of clotting. There is infection, then there is a healing process of recovery. So all the way Shiva is present. And one very interesting thing about this Vaidyanatha Ashtakam is that Adi Shankaracharya initiates all of us in the first line, which is Namah Shivaya. So a lot of people were benefited greatly during COVID times by chanting this. And of course, if you have any disease, you can chant this 3 times a day and you will experience a lot of positive benefits. So let's go into the Stotram, the first verse. Shri Rama Saumitri Jata Yuveda Shadananaditya Kujarchitaya Shri Neelakanthaya Dayamayaya Shri Vaidyanatha Namah Shivaya. I worship Shiva, who is the Lord amongst physicians, who is worshipped by Sri Rama, Lakshmana, Jatayu, who is worshipped by the Vedas, who is worshipped by Subramanya, Aditya, and even Kuja, Mars, who has a blue neck and who is full of compassion. So after Sri Rama killed Ravana, Prayaschitta had to be done because Ravana was a Brahmin and it was Brahma Hatya. So Sri Rama, along with Devi Sita and Lakshmana, installed and worshipped Shiva Linga to do Prayaschitta. So Rameshwaram, where Shiva is indeed the Lord of Rama, is where Sri Rama consecrated and worshipped the Shiva Linga. Jatayu also worshipped Bhagwan Shiva. So we see that a lot of powerful beings and devatas, including Subramanya, Surya Devata. Subramanya, of course, will worship Shiva because he is his son, but Surya Devata and even Kuja, the planet of Mars, which the deity of Mars, which is the giver of prosperity and wealth, presided by Shadanana, is also the son of Shiva. So they all pray to Shiva. And so I'm telling you, Shiva, Vaidyanatha, if you have blessed and protected them, then please look in my direction also. And in moments of distress, please protect all your devotees. So this creates trust that if you have helped the devas, then of course you will help mere mortals. Neelakantha, a word we might be familiar with. So when the Samudra Manthan happened between the Devas and the Asuras, a lot of things emerged from the ocean before the Amrita emerged. And while Mahalakshmi emerged and Uttaishravasa, they were all taken by the different celestial beings. But when Halahala, the poison, emerged, then it threatened to destroy the entire creation. And so Shiva just held the Halahala poison in the palm of his hands. And of course, Parvati, being inseparable from him, um, held his neck because he was going to swallow it. He almost did, but she prevented it from going down, and therefore his neck turned blue. And why did he do that? Because he wanted to protect all the beings. He because he is Dayamaya, he's full of compassion. Further, Ganga Prava Hindu Jata, we can go to the next one. Ganga Prava Hindu Jata Dharaya Trilochanaya Smaraka Lahantre Samasta Devairapi Pujitaya Sri Vaidyanatha Namah Shivaya. I worship Shiva, who is the Lord amongst physicians, healers, who wears the flow of Ganga and the moon on his head, who has three eyes, who had killed Manmatha and Yama, the god of love and death, and who also revived them, and who is worshipped by all the devas. So as the story goes, King Bhagiratha's ancestors, Pitras, were all burnt to ashes, 60,000 of them, and they had not moved on in their onward journey. So Bhagiratha did a lot of intense tapasya so that goddess Ganga would be willing to come down to the earth and revive his ancestors just by her touch. So Ganga appeared after his intense tapasya, and she said, well, I can come down to the earth, but somebody needs to be there to capture the impact of my power, because by itself, Bhumi, the earth will not be able to do it. The only one who can do it is Lord Shiva. So she asks Bhagiratha to seek Shiva's help. Bhagiratha prays to Shiva, and then Shiva says, okay, I will hold Ganga between my jata and I will neutralize her impact. So Gangaji that was flowing in Swarga then eventually came down to the earth, and of course she continues to flow, and we've all had, or most of us have had, the blessing of uh, her blessings. Then additionally, Shiva is also shown as having a crescent on his head. And there's a story to this. So this Chandra, Chandra, we're still on the second verse. So Chandra had, because Indu is there, no, Indu Jatadharaya. So Chandra married 27 daughters of Kashyapa. But he, after marriage, he was paying attention only to the other 26. No, sorry, he paid attention only to Rohini, not to the other 26. So the other daughters, they complained to the father. And hearing this, Daksha cursed the moon, saying that it will lose its shine. So Chandra, the moon god, was so scared, he rushed to Brahmaji and who said that, sorry, I cannot help you, you have to go to Shiva only. Shiva said, well, a curse cannot be counteracted. And then subsequently, without the moon, the plants started to die. People didn't have food to eat. So Chandra again went to Shiva and said, please, please, please do something. So then Shiva said, okay, well, if you are with me, I'm the timeless, I will manage you. So during Krishna Paksha, your light will wane. During Shukla Paksha, the waxing phase, your light will wax, it will increase. So you please be with me. And so this waxing and waning of the moon that symbolizes time can only be managed by that who holds time, and that is Shiva. Trilochanaya, unto the one who has three eyes, sun, moon, and Agni. Agni is also referred to as a third eye of wisdom. But just, you know, appreciate this, that every time you look at the sun, Shiva is looking at us. Every time you look up at the moon, and even if you don't, well, the light is always shining on you. Shiva is always shining on you. Then there's another story, Smara Kalahantre, the one who killed Manmatha and then revived, and also Kala. So some of us may know, Manmatha. I'm not sure if we can do an English equivalent of Cupid, but kind of, maybe. So Smara, also known as Kamadeva, he tried to play a little kind of a game with Lord Shiva. So there was this Asura, Taraka, who, of course, wanted to be very powerful. And then he said, there should be no one who can be my equal in three worlds. And he asked for a boon with all his tapasya that only a son of Shiva can kill him. And the second boon was a bit clever because he knew that Shiva was not married, nor was he planning to have a child. And so he would live forever. But it so happened that another plot was hatched. And because Tarakasura started to create havoc everywhere. So then Brahmaji said, okay, I see I can't do much, but uh, if we put Parvati in front of Shiva, then maybe, he will, of course, be so drawn to her, and then maybe they may get together. So, Indra takes the help of Manmatha, who uh, is Kamadeva and who shoots these floral arrows. And so it just so happens that for a fraction of a second, in those intense 1,000 years of tapasya, where Shiva's eyes are closed, just for a fraction of a second, his eyes open. And in that, Parvati, who has been doing tapasya for so long, appears in front of him. And so much longing is created in Shiva that, of course, he decides to marry her and all of that. But he watches Manmatha running away. And he realized this, that, it has been all his tricks. So he's very angry and he burns Kamadeva to ashes. So then Rati, Kamadeva's wife, is very upset. And then anyway, she requests Parvati, and then Parvati requests Shiva, and then he's revived eventually. But in the process, what happens is Shiva is with Parvati. They do have a son, Kartikeya. And then eventually, Kartikeya is the one who goes on to defeat Tarakasura. And then we all know the story of Yama, where Yama crossed his boundaries. Here was this little boy, 16-year-old boy, Markandeya, son of Brikandu Rishi, who had been, the Rishi had been given a boon that he could have a child who would be brilliant but would live only 16 years, or could live a very long life, but would be pretty dull. He chose that the son should be brilliant. Then at the opportune time, 16 years, Markandeya is worshipping Shivalinga. Yama comes as because he's very, very punctual. And he tries to take away Markandeya. Markandeya, in all this time, has been doing japa of Mahamrityunjaya mantra that he had received from his father, which protects everyone from death and disease and illness. And as Yama tried to take Markandeya away, he was holding on to Shiva, and then Shiva was angry because how dare you touch my devotee, especially when he's worshipping me. And so Shiva burnt Yamadeva also to ashes. Then eventually he revived him. Samasta Devyai Vipujitaya. So all these devas, all these celestial beings, they all seek help, your protection, Vaidyanatha. And I'm gaining more trust that I can seek your help. Verse 3. Bhakta Priyaya Tripurantakaya Pinakine Dushtaharaya Nityam Pratyakshalilaya Manushaloke Sri Vaidyanatha Namah Shivaya. So you who are the most beloved of all your devotees, who destroyed Tripurasura, who holds the bow called Pinaka, who destroys adharma regularly, and who creates divine play in the world of human beings. So if Devas and Asuras can get the results that they desire, then even our smallest prayers can possibly be answered by Shiva. Tripurantakaya, again, these three Asuras were given a boon that, because of their intense tapasya, that they could be killed only by a single arrow, as they lived in three lokas which were orbiting. So the only if the three lokas came in one line, and that would happen in 1,000 years, only then that single arrow should shoot through all these three lokas. So they asked for such a strange boon, but anyway, it was Shiva's Pinaka, his celestial bow, that obviously cut through all of it and destroyed these asuras, who had again created havoc for the devas. So all the Leela that we experience, the play of time, past, present, future, even now, when as we are hearing the stories of people who went to the Kumbh, it's amazing to hear how people landed up there. The ones who were not planning to go went, the ones who were planning couldn't go. And then even there, just the sequence of events is just indicative of Bhagwan's Leela. Verse 4, प्रभूतवातारि समस्तरोग प्रणाशकर्त्रे मुनिवन्दिताय प्रभाकरेन्वक्निविलोचनाय श्रीवैद्यनाथाय नमः शिवाय. So I worship that Shiva who is the Lord of all physicians and who cures all great diseases, samasta roga, like rheumatism and arthritis, and who is saluted by great sages, Muni Vanditaya, and to whom uh, the eyes are the sun, the moon, and Agni. Those are his eyes, and those eyes and the light of which are always shining on us. So we recognize that any disease that we have is caused by karma, past and present karma, both visible and invisible factors. So it is really our papa karma which manifests as papa and hence dukkha. And so he responds and he is able to destroy all of it because he is the effulgent one. 5. Vakshrotra netrangri vihina jantoho Vakshrotra netrangri mukha pradaya कुष्ठादि सर्वोन्नतरोगहन्त्रे श्रीवैद्यनाथाय नमः शिवाय. I worship Bhagwan Shiva, who is the Lord of all Vaidyas, who blesses all beings who have either lost or have issues with their speech or hearing or sight or even the ability to walk. Basically, who have issues with their organs of action or organs of knowledge. And he blesses them with exactly these abilities, or he will give them some other additional extraordinary abilities. And who provides for cure for diseases like leprosy and so on. So we recognize that Lord Shiva, you are the cosmic healer. Anyone who heals us, even through touch or through darshan, or through medicines, any kind of alternative systems, it is you who is healing through them. 6. And besides the physical diseases, there is another universal disease that everyone suffers from, and that is the disease of being human. Why is it a disease? Because one experiences suffering due to one's limitations. And so, of course, this Vaidyanatha Ashtakam is written by Adi Shankaracharya, and so he will, of course, bring in Vedanta. And he says, you, Shiva, I worship you, who can be known, who is known through Vedanta, and who pervades this entire universe, who is the Lord of yogis, whose lotus feet is meditated upon, who is the form of this cosmic form responsible for manifestation, sustenance, and resolution, and who is worshipped by 1,000 names. So our journey of devotion is that we start relating with a single form, Eka Rupaha. If our devotion gets stuck over there, then we can become conditioned and exclusive and think that all other forms are useless. Our devotion will progress to Aneka Rupa Bhakti, where we will be able to see, like Mirabai and a lot of other saints, that all forms are either Krishna or Shiva or Devi. So our bhakti grows into being Aneka Rupa Bhakti, where my in-laws particularly, and my colleagues and my family members and my friends, they are all forms of Shiva. And then when I inquire into what is the reality of all these forms, then it is Arupa Bhakti. I have graduated to the third stage, which is Advaita Siddhi. Arupa Bhakti is Advaita Siddhi Jnanam, and all the way. This is possible because I see Shiva, you pervade this entire universe, Jaganmayaya. And you are so worshipful that all the great yogis, they meditate upon your lotus feet because it is worthy of meditation. You who are in the form of Trimurti, responsible for all manifestation, sustenance, and dissolution, my namaha unto you. In fact, in the Mahabharata, we all know Bhishma Pitamaha taught the 1000 names of Bhagavan Vishnu to Yudhishthira. And then Yudhishthira asked him, what about Shiva Sahasranama? So Bhishma says, no, no, I cannot say. You ask Krishna to say. And Krishna, okay, Lord Krishna teaches Shiva Sahasranama to Yudhishthira. Again, glorious set of names. And he says, I have learnt it from Rishi Upamanyu, who was a great Shiva Bhakta. So the one who can also be known through these 1000 names. Any word can be a way, a pathway, a doorway to understanding the glory of Shiva. 7. Swatirthamrit bhasma bhridanga bhajam pishacha dukkharti bhayapahaya atmasvarupaya sharira bhajam Sri Vaidyanatha Namah Shivaya. I worship Shiva, who's the Lord of Physicians, who removes all kind of sufferings, apahaya, that might be caused by pishacha, by different kinds of spirits who have not moved on, by different sorrows, by bhaya. How? By dipping in Swatirtha, in his, in every Shiva temple, old and traditionally made Shiva temple, there will be a kund, a holy tank where one can have a dip, or the bhasma, the sacred ash that is available as prasada after you have done a fire ritual offering, or even the mud below the neem tree of the temple. All these are sacred, and by covering yourself with it or by partaking of it, all your sufferings of these kinds will be removed. And then the third line, which is so beautiful, that you are in the form, you Atma Swarupaya. Shiva, you are me, just like Krishna says, Aham Atma Godakeshaha. And you are like, just like Bhasma is put on the body, I put you on me. Okay, so you are in the form of Atma in all these embodied beings. The material is Shiva, and of course, the intelligence all the way is Shiva. So you are like this anyway, this Sharira is going to be Bhasma only. Okay, Ram Nam Satya hai, one fine day it is going to be that. Then what is there? You are Atma Rupaya. Beautiful. And then finally the last verse. Srinilakantaya Vrishadvajaya Sragandha Bhasmadya Pishobhitaya Suputradharadi Subhagyadaya Sri Vaidyanatha Namah Shivaya. So I worship you, Shiva, who is a lord of all physicians, who has a blue neck, Nilakantha, who has this Nandi Vrishabhajaya on his flag. Nandi, of course, is the chief amongst all the Ganas, Shiva Ganas. And he also stands for the Dharma bull, because the bull of Dharma, which ensures a certain self-regulation. And Shiva, you are pleased with so little, like you look so beautiful, just with some flowers and some sandalwood paste and some bhasma. And you are the one who blesses everyone with great fortune, a favorable spouse and children. And so finally, Balambikesha Vaidyesha Bhavaroga Hareti Cha Jape Namatrayam Nityam Maharoga Nivaranam. So those who will recite this Vaidyanatha Ashtakam thrice a day with devotion and pray to Vaidyanatha, who is with Balambika, he will remove the fear of birth and death, and whatever diseases might be there, one will be cured of it. Namah Shivaya. Thank you.